But I mean, words are important, but the fact is, and I might get booed for this, the fact is that on the ground, Obama is continuing some of the most belligerent, violent, and some would say unconstitutional policies of the Bush administration. Bagram is his Guantanamo. They're spending $60 million to expand the place.
Bagram being
in Afghanistan, the air base.
Right.
They're holding people without charge in contravention of international law. Bombings in Pakistan with these drones are indiscriminately killing civilians. Civilians are dying in Afghanistan on a regular basis, and the guy's using 250,000 contractors in Iraq and Afghanistan right now. Sounds to me a lot like Bush.
Yeah.
So the policies, I mean, it baffles me why people in this country don't get this. Our policies are building new terrorists, encouraging terrorism every day. When we're bombing civilians, we are creating new generations of people that are going to want to kill Americans because of what's happened to their families. I spent years in Iraq under Saddam Hussein. People there were saying this collective punishment that we are experiencing, punishment because of our leader of our country, we are going to get you back for this. That is what these policymakers don't seem to get. Dick Cheney did more to encourage terrorism against Americans than almost any other official in recent U.S. history through his actions and his words.
It's a bad thing in war, but this is what happens.
We're talking about a million people killed in Iraq. That is not just a bad thing. That is a war crime.
No, clearly, but it's kind of like this American Civil War.
How do we know it's 1 million deaths in Iraq?
Well, I mean, there was a study that was done by Johns Hopkins that analyzed the civilian deaths and got hospital records and reviewed media reports over a period of time, then extrapolated it out. And this was actually an outdated figure. At the time, Bush was talking about 30,000. You had several independent reports that indicated that there were between 750,000 and a million.
Are these the deaths that Americans, like the Americans?
These are post-invasion deaths. I mean, I actually hold the Bush administration responsible for unleashing the hounds of hell on the Iraqi population, because there certainly weren't people being killed in those numbers at the end of Saddam Hussein's regime. He was most brutal, and the U.S. was supporting him.
No, I understand that, but you also just said that Iraqi people also, and right now...
Would you pull out from Afghanistan also?
Absolutely, I would. I was just reading the remarks of the last general of the Red Army to leave Afghanistan, and he called it the biggest mistake of his life, and said if we had it to do over again, we wouldn't have sent one troop in there. We would have tried to help support the Afghan people. The United States is creating an incredibly violent and dangerous situation in Afghanistan that was already bad to begin with, and making it infinitely worse, is my opinion.
Wait, what would you do then?
First of all, I wouldn't build a colonial fortress in Islamabad and spend $1 billion on it, which the Obama administration is going to do, while at the same time saying, oh, but we're not going to stay forever. We're just going to build an 80 football field size embassy in Islamabad like we have in Baghdad right now.
You would just leave the nukes unprotected. You would just say, oh, okay, so for the insurgents...
No, but we're talking about Afghanistan. Islamabad is going to be the point of operations going into Afghanistan.
Islamabad
the nuclear
is
issue in
also
Pakistan is a completely different issue. I wish that the Bush administration had not supported Musharraf as passionately as it did. I wish they didn't.